This is an orientation and training session on accessing and using the Lebanon Helipad. This helipad training is in 3 parts. There's the ChecksWeb module you are doing now, a review of the helipad with a PediFlite team member, and review of the alternate landing zone. This session will cover accessing the helipad storage and lobby area, the helipad deck and port, the service deck and maintenance area, the emergency exit and procedure, and working on the helipad itself. We will first cover accessing the helipad. Security must be notified anytime an aircraft is coming to the helipad. This should be done by contacting the transfer center at 74408. They will call security. Security must be aware of an aircraft coming to the pad and an officer present on the pad for the landing. Getting to the helipad requires using one of the 2 large service elevators. Badge access is required and security must turn this on after you have done this training. Once in a car, use the badge reader to read your badge and press HP on the elevator panel. There may be times when bypassing the floors and accessing the elevator immediately are warranted. This should only be done for time-sensitive emergencies for getting to the helipad and getting a patient off quickly. Next, we will talk about the helipad storage area and lobby. There are several safety adjuncts immediately accessible in the lobby area. These are PPE equipment, a hand sanitizer, and earplugs for hearing protection. PPE, or personal protective equipment, includes gowns, gloves, and masks for meeting patients that are potentially infectious. Helipad safety includes hearing protection. You must wear earplugs anytime an aircraft is running on the helipad. The only exception is if you have a helmet on. There are 2 types of gurneys used to meet patients. One has a modified box that retrieves an isolette with wheels. The other is for a conventional stretcher, as well as a wheelless isolette sled that is used with the 130. Helipad lighting is automatic, and there are switches that control the deck as well as the pad's lighting. Fire safety and suppression are essential. There is a hospital fire alarm and fire suppression system built into the lobby, as well as 2 stations on the helipad. There is also a canister fire extinguisher. Accessing the helipad requires badge access. Everyone should stay in the lobby area until an aircraft has landed. It is quite a view. Next, we will talk about the helipad deck and port. The Lebanon helipad sits on a raised platform above the roof. There is a metal deck walkway that consists of 2 inclines and is bordered by a yellow safety marker. There are wheel stops and safety netting around the helipad. As noted, there is automatic lighting for the helipad and deck. The helipad automatically defrosts in the event of freezing weather. The helipad has a special fire suppression system that utilizes a foam pumped from the 4 corners of the helipad. This foam fire suppression system is used in the event of a helicopter fire and has pull stations at 2 locations on the helipad. We will briefly talk about the common helipad hazards. There are 5 of the most common. They are debris and trash, loose clothing and sheets, water and ice, low lighting, and rotor wash and the blades themselves. Debris and trash are common helipad hazards, and part of security's job is to assure these don't exist before an aircraft lands. Loose clothing and sheets create a hazard and should be removed or secured prior to an aircraft landing. Though the Lebanon helipad defrosts automatically, water and ice can still create a hazard. Low lighting can also be a concern at night. Rotor blades and the wind they create are a special concern. No one should ever go toward the end of an aircraft and be aware of the rotor blades when they are turning. All helipad hazards should be remedied before an aircraft lands. Next, we will talk about the helipad emergency exits. There is a front emergency exit that is essentially the deck right off the door. There is a rear emergency exit off the west end of the pad. This route takes you to the engineering deck and ultimately the 12th floor. Next, we will talk about working on the helipad. The helicopter should land with the patient access doors facing the helipad access doors. This means the nose is usually facing northeast, but may be exactly opposite with newer aircraft. Security plays an important role and must be on the helipad whenever an aircraft is met. They need to wear hearing protection, but are not expected to be engaged in retrieving the patient from the aircraft. Their role is to watch for hazards and communicate these problems if they develop. They should also assist in getting the stretcher and gurney off the ramp as the patient is retrieved. One should know the difference between a hot and cold load and offload. All neonates are a cold offload, while many pediatric and adult patients are unloaded while the aircraft is running. Sometimes the pilot may initiate an alternate landing. This is done when winds are too great to land on the top of the hospital. This alternate landing is initiated by the pilot through the transfer center, and security has an important role. Security should know what to do in the event of an alternate landing, and there is a checklist available to initiate this process. Thank you for your attention. Now proceed to testing.